Well, I know
Okay.
it's been a while since you've heard from me. 7 tornadoes touching down in your town with the requisite destruction afterwards, and then contractors in your house, and then all the other stuff that, yeah, it'll do that to you. So I've been absent for a while, but we're back. And of course, I couldn't have my first podcast in a while be kind of lame. So I have an extra special guest from across the pond, as they say. So, welcome to the Rebel Tribe podcast, where empowerment meets attitude. And this gal's got plenty of attitude, let me tell you. Sass meets savvy. We are not just another podcast. We are your virtual tribe of fierce females ready to conquer the world. So, join us today as we meet Penelope Whiteley, creator of Aging Disgracefully. Penelope, how are you?
I'm well, Melody Ann. How are you?
I am so good. I'm so good. I'm glad we were able to pull this off because what is it, like a 15-hour time difference between us?
Yeah, it's 15 hours. So I think we've got it right because for me, this is roughly 10 o'clock in the morning. For you, it's 7 o'clock roughly in the evening. And they're very civilized times, aren't they?
Yes, that's always been the problem with a lot of my guests that I want to get to internationally. It's like, okay, we got to make this work somehow. Without me getting up at 4 in the morning or you being up at 4 in the morning. So
Yes. Yes. I don't find 4 in the morning works.
it doesn't for me. I'm barely coherent. I don't get civilized until about noon.
Sounds about right.
Well, let's get right to it. First things first. What is the secret to aging disgracefully? I'm asking for a friend and myself.
I don't know that there is any specific secret. I think there are several things that you have to be aware of, and there are several things that I believe you actually have to do if you don't already do them. And the first thing, of course, is loving yourself. If you don't love yourself, then your confidence level, your ability to give people sass, your ability to have an attitude that is your attitude and nobody else's, and a touch of irreverence. And I think you need to bring in all those things that children have. You think of a child of 5 or 6, they don't care about anybody really. They just do their own thing. They dress the way they want to, they speak the way they want to, they say what they want to say, unless they have terribly strict parents. And I think that's the way we have to be certainly after 55, and maybe onwards. So I think when we hit 100, we need to be that wonderful, childlike, delightful human being who doesn't really care about anything else except living a life and having an attitude that helps other people do the same.
Well, that was one of the things that first attracted me to you. It was you were posting a picture of some shoes, and I was looking at those shoes going, I couldn't wear those at 20. There's no way I could wear them at 60. So that was one of the things that I first noticed is that you just seem to challenge the conventional notions of aging. So did you have like a eureka moment that kind of sparked this whole journey?
No, I have to be honest, my mother is responsible. My mother, the expression aging disgracefully was my mother's. And when I was a little girl, I'd say to her, oh, Miss Strudwick, for example, wears so and so, and and she tells me she's aging gracefully. And my mother says, yes, well, I'd rather wear these shoes and age disgracefully. So that's where the expression comes from. And I think, again, it's about owning yourself. It's about being able to say, I don't want to wear that type of shoe. I don't want to wear those thick lisle stockings and have my hair in a tight bun and not say what I think, because I think part of the problem with our age is we do become invisible. People will say, oh no, I'm not invisible. And I'm sorry, you are. And we have to make sure we're not invisible. We have to be positive and out there and say what we want to say. And empower those girls coming up behind us as much as anything, so that they can really step into their visibleness, their visibility, if you like.
We actually had a podcast not too long ago where I had several ladies on, and we actually had that conversation about the fact that, first of all, as women, we have to fight to be seen. And as older women, we really have to fight to be seen and be heard. And we all were telling our stories. Has there ever been a time when you actually had to like put someone in their place for some age shaming? Spell it.
Oh, quite a few times, actually. And one of the things I've learned about it is that if you do it in such a way that it's irreverent, but it's funny. So I always bring humor into these conversations because most people don't like to be put down seriously. And for me, non-aggression is always better. And I liberally lace everything with a huge dose of charm. And I try to be as pleasant as I can when I'm putting someone down. So it comes back to, I use sarcasm a lot and irony, and sometimes they don't even understand it, especially if they're a man. Sorry, not beating men, but a lot of men don't understand sarcasm and irony. So yeah, do it, but do it nicely is my motto.
Okay, well, I'm going to pick your brains for some secret now. So I need to know that in a world that seems obsessed with youth anymore, how do you stay so unapologetic about aging? I mean, I see it in everything you post, and you see so many other women get on there and they're like talking about how old they are, and you're not. You're like, yeah, I'm old, and I'm old, and here I am. How do you stay so?
Yeah, well, I don't really know. I just am. I refuse. Everyone says, oh, well, age is just a number. And yes, age is just a number. There are some numbers you wish you never hit, but age is just a number. And again, it comes back to attitude. If you're willing to say, my age has nothing to do with me or my life around me, which it doesn't. Your age only affects you if you let it. So it's one of those things when people say, oh, my parents are responsible for the way I am. No, they're not. You're responsible. Everything about you is your responsibility. And once you accept that, and I've worked with a lot of women who found that particular part of the aging process very hard, but then younger people find it hard. Nobody will accept responsibility for the way they are. And they have to, because no one else has done it.
So how do you handle that inevitable, you're too old for that comment? I know I've heard them. Most recently from my own grandson. First, when I told him I was getting on TikTok, and I was politely informed that you're too old for that, Grandma. And then when I told him I was starting a podcast, I got the same thing. You're too old for that, Grandma. So how do you handle those you're too old for that comments that we all get?
Well, I'm probably going to upset you with my answer, but I just ignore them. Truly. Oh, you're too old for that. Oh, really? Tell me when I've done it. Then you can tell me I'm too old for it.
Nope.
Because you do, you look at them, you look at people who say that and you think, yeah, so what have you done? And what are you doing now? You're walking around whinging about the fact that you have arthritis and you don't know what to wear and your feet hurt and, oh, my husband's got this. I mean, seriously, get over it. Build a bridge, get over it.
Well, it doesn't upset
This
me at
is
all.
your life. Well, it's got nothing to do with anyone else. If you want to do a podcast or go on TikTok, that's your business, not theirs. And they don't have to watch if they don't want to.
Good, because that's exactly what I did. It was like, yeah, watch this.
Go for it.
Here we are recording the podcast, and yeah, I've been on TikTok for a while, so we're all good.
Well, we're doing well then in that case.
So what made you decide to try and turn this whole attitude into an actual business?
Um, I've always been interested in style and fashion and design and anything even remotely artistic. So through the years, and there have been many, I've always been involved in it. And one of the things I found was that there are several things. One of them was I used to speak a lot at different events, which I don't do so much now, which is a shame because I love it. But people would come up to me afterwards and say, and I have a course I run about writing books, and they come up to me and say, oh, I really want to write a book and I want to tell people this, that, and the other. And I just look at them and say, well, write the damn thing. I know I'm stopping you. And the same with style. People would say to me, oh, well, you know, I have big hips. Well, you can wear this, this, and this to get round that problem. I used to run a course called Lose 10 Pounds in 10 Minutes, which of course is nothing to do with weight. It's about the way you dress. And you can, if you dress in a specific way and say you have a big belly, which a lot of us do have at a certain age, you can disguise it so you don't look as if you have it. And I think too, style, attitude, all of that, if you present yourself in such a way that you can't be ignored, and I don't mean by wearing ridiculous clothing that would only suit your 18-year-old granddaughter, or makeup that should have been thrown out 50 years ago, or a hairstyle, more importantly, that belongs on a woman half your age and not you. If you can get past that, then, and get over that and not do it, then you reach back into your visibility again, because people, for some reason, and I'm not advocating dressing like an old person, I'm advocating, oh, I can't even say that word anymore. I'm saying dress as though you mean it. You're a mature woman of whatever age, and you're not going to take any of this rubbish lying down. So aging disgracefully came naturally. And if you talk about aging disgracefully all the time, your attitude changes. So that wasn't hard, that part.
So what's some advice then? Because so many women I notice are afraid, I think, of embracing their age. I mean, I will proudly tell anybody who asks, yeah, I'm 67, and I'm pretty proud of it, because a lot of women don't get that far in a lot. I mean, if you look at some other countries, a lot of women don't get that far. And, you know, there's many women out there that have not, I'm not saying that I don't have my fair share of aches and pains and whatever, but for being 67, I get around a lot better than a lot of women my age and younger. So, you know, I'm not afraid to tell people how old I am, but I've noticed a lot of women are, and if you watch the commercials anymore, it's all about creams and potions and lotions and this and that to look younger. What do you tell people who are so afraid of, you know, their first wrinkle? Oh my God, I've got my first wrinkle, or my first gray hair, I'm old. What do you tell these people?
I think, again, it comes down to attitude, because there is no cream or potion or whatever that is going to turn back the clock. Your age is your age. I'm 75. I'm 76 in September.
Oh,
Do I care? No, not really. Am I happy to tell people? Yes, because it doesn't make any difference. But I think when people get on the merry-go-round of worrying about the first wrinkle and their crow's feet, and they're losing their life, because it's a waste of time and it's a waste of effort, and it sure as hell is a waste of money to try and do something about wrinkles and crow's feet and saggy this, that, and the other. No, I'm not saying I don't believe in things like plastic surgery. I do. I'm happy to have that done, you know, just to have it all lifted out of the way. But I think aging is about, and the way you look is about sagging rather than wrinkles. Your wrinkles are your badge of honor. They show you've lived a life. if you have laughter lines and again, they show you've had a happy life and you've laughed a lot, and people love you when you laugh. They don't love you when you're sulking and miserable and etc. It's called please leave the building. But yeah, I think again, wrinkles are a sign that you've lived a life and you just want to make sure you've got the right wrinkles.
Okay. I'll have to go check. Do I have the right wrinkles? I don't know. I have a few, so hey.
Oh, darling, I'm covered in them. I've even got them on my ankles. So
Now I need to go look. Do I have wrinkly ankles?
actually, it's funny, the one thing that most women worry about more than anything, this is in my experience, is grey hair.
Oh yeah.
And they get terribly upset when they get grey hair. The reason we go grey, I'm not going to talk about the scientific reasons or anything, but the reason we go grey, in actual fact, I believe, is because it softens our face rather than having something dark around our face, which highlights the bad bits. Grey hair softens the overall appearance of your face. And the trick, I think, is to find a cut or a style or a color. You may want foils or silver foils or whatever, that adds to the softness. And then it's important to look at your makeup, because you can't wear the same makeup. You've got to tone it down, use different shades, etc. And that's important.
So the bright blue eyeshadow is out. Is that what you're saying?
I would say yes. I'm not sure bright blue eyeshadow worked when you were 20, to be honest. However,
Oh, it was hot when I was 20. I remember because I had this makeup kit that I used to get this makeup box every month. And then one of the things they sent me was this bright blue shiny eyeshadow. Okay. So apparently it was in back in those days. Back in the 70s, it was cool. And I don't think
and it works well on young faces.
but yeah. And I know what you mean about the hair. I colored my hair for the longest time until finally it just got to be annoying more than anything. It got to be a pain in the hind parts to drive to the salon, sit there for an hour and a half, 2 hours while she messed with my hair. And then it's like, and then to do that like every 6 weeks, I finally was like, I'm not doing this anymore. This is annoying. I'm giving up a good 3 hours of my day just so I can not have gray hair. It's not worth it. So I stopped.
It's really funny. Yeah, you have to. I think you have to decide what's right for you. And nobody who writes in a magazine or has a YouTube channel or whatever knows what's right for you. They will give you generalizations. You know, when I'm talking to people about style, I give generalizations. There's nothing specific unless I'm working with them in, hello, pussycat.
We have the cat. How did you get in here, Mac? Get off. Like I said, this is my podcast. If it can go wrong, it shall. Okay.
And we've got a little white tip on our tail.
Yes, we do.
Oh, how sweet.
This is Mackie
Oh, I
Cat.
love it. Gorgeous.
Found him
Sorry, yes.
Oh, you want to be on? So this is, don't step on the keyboard. Okay, come here. Okay, come here. All right, time to get down. We found
I love it.
stack of pallets when we were out. We heard this little meowing, and he was just a baby. So I looked
Oh,
at the kitten, and I called him, and he wouldn't come. So then we just kept walking, and the next thing I know, I looked behind me, and he was following us. And I was like, oh, we were in
oh,
the parking lot because we were walking on a trail, and I was like, I'm gonna get run over. So I stayed there with him. I made my husband run over to the store and get some cat food. I said, go get a can of cat food. Okay. I said, because he's going to get his little butt run over. So he went and got a can of cat food, and we coaxed him close enough to us to grab him. It's lucky we didn't get clawed to death because we weren't sure if he was wild or not, but he was so tiny. So he was probably okay. So we grabbed him and took him home. And I guess he either got lost or somebody threw him out because we brought him home and just set him in the house. And he was instantly like, I'm good. He just moved right in.
Yeah.
None of that wild feral cat stuff. So
No, I find it strange that the things people do to animals, I really do, and I hate it. I get very upset by the things people do to animals, truly. They do it to humans, it doesn't worry me so much.
yeah, I know that feeling. Yes, I know. I have a house full of rescues because I live at the end of a dirt road and it's a drop off point. So I have a house full of rescues right now. I have, including Mac, 3 rescue kitties and 2 rescue puppies.
Oh, that's lovely. Oh,
The
I
Chihuahua.
like, oh, there, I can see him behind you.
Yeah, that's where he normally sits. I don't know why he decided to get down and walk around. Normally he'll just sit up there and be quiet. And
It's like children, isn't it? Yes. Sorry, anyway, yes.
now that we've digressed a lot, okay, which also happens a lot on my podcasts. So that's okay. People, like I said, people are used to me. It's okay. And if they're not, you know what? Scroll on by. Okay. Don't click in to listen.
Oh, attitude, I like it.
So, where was I? Where were we? I lost my train of thought. Oh, okay. So we were talking about laughing. So yes, what is okay? What is your favorite way to laugh? I guess in the face of all these traditional aging expectations, because we all hear them. I hear it all the time. It's like, you're the usual. You're too old for that, or you can't. You shouldn't wear that. And you look, it's too young for you, or whatever. What's your favorite way? Mine is to just tell them to whatever, take a hike. Okay.
I just laugh at them.
Hmm.
I just laugh at them because some of the things they come out with, and I look at people, especially young men, and I say, would you like to say that in English? And they say, huh? I said, well, do you speak English? Because all I've just heard is a load of rubbish. So speak to me in my own language or shut up. Yes.
So what is the most
They get very offended.
what what is the most outrageous thing you've ever done to challenge the stereotypes of aging?
I don't know. I don't know, because most of what I do is outrageous by most people's standards.
That's why, because I know you've done something, because I know I've just from watching you, I know. Okay.
I think it's my use of the word no. And people will say something to me. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is in actual fact. And I say no. And they look at me expectantly for however long it takes. And I mean, yeah, we can stand there for quite a while in complete silence, with them looking at me, waiting for me to give them an excuse as to why I've said no. And I don't give them one. And finally they say, well, do you just mean no? Yes, no is a complete sentence. That's it.
That pertains to so
And
many.
it really horrifies them.
Oh, that pertains to so many things. No is a complete sentence. I need to put that on a t-shirt so people can understand it. No,
yes.
it's a complete sentence.
Yes. But if you think about it, it is. But if you look at people generally, from teensy children to very old people, nobody ever says no without an excuse to go with it.
You're right.
Think
Now that
about it.
I got it. Nobody ever just says no. They always have to give a reason.
Yes.
Even I do it. Now that I'm thinking,
Yes.
I'm thinking of all the times just like in the last few days that I've said no to something and it was immediately followed by no because whatever.
Yes.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm guilty. Okay.
Oh goodness, slap yourself immediately. It's I think in some ways that is saying no is more responsible for my change of attitude, because I used to be a people pleaser. For many years I was a people pleaser until I finally realized that nobody appreciated it. They just accepted it as their due. And I thought one day, well, no, it's not your due. I'm have to do this if I don't want to, and it doesn't suit me. And once you reach that realization that you really don't, you can say no with no excuse, and you don't have to do what people expect of you, then I think you're well on the path, if not having reached the point of having the right attitude for a woman who will never see 55 again, and who, to all intents and purposes, to a large part of the world's population, has become invisible. How dare they decide you're invisible? Who the hell do they think they are? I mean, seriously.
Yes, that is the biggest thing I think that we all struggle is the fact
Yeah.
that you hit a certain age, it's like you have suddenly just disappeared. No one hears
Yes.
you, no one listens to you. That's one of the reasons I started this podcast, was to give a voice to the women that don't
Yes.
have one. Because
Yes,
we do all have things to say, and some of us have
we
very
do.
say.
And they're wise things, and they're sensible things, and they help people and teach people. I remember my first real experience. I must have been, I think I was early 60s, and I walked into a coffee shop, funnily enough, here in Melbourne, in Australia. And I walked into a coffee shop, and it was lunchtime, and there were about 7 or 8 people in front of me, all youngish people, maybe early 30s or something. And they ordered their coffee and got whatever it was they wanted food-wise, and they left. And I'm still standing there. I looked at the guy behind the counter and I said, "Excuse me, a hole in the ozone, or have you recognized that I'm actually a human being standing here waiting to be served?" And he said, "Oh, sorry, we've been a bit busy." I said, "Yes, I noticed that, but that doesn't mean that I should not have been served. I was the first person before the hordes came in, and I still haven't got, oh, well, what did you want?" I said, "Okay, so I gave him a huge order of things I wanted, and he put them all on the counter and said, 'That's so much.' I said, 'Yes, but I'm not paying it now because you've given me such appalling service.'" And he said, "Oh." So there was a bit of a confrontation, and I won. What a surprise. And I left the show, and I thought, well, that's it. That is obviously I'm at an age now where I'm really old. Nobody recognizes I exist. I'm just a hole in the ozone. And I was so angry, I can't tell you. I said some things to him I shouldn't have said, which were of a personal nature. But I thought, no, I'm over this already. I'm over it. I've got another 25 years to go.
How do you
So
stay?
I don't know. What?
I said, how do you stay so bold and daring when it's like, when they're trying to put you in a box? Sometimes I feel like they're just trying to put me in this neat little box. How do you stay so bold and brave? And I don't know if
I
that would have looked at him and said, "I'm not paying for it now. Bye."
it's well, I think you had to take a stand somewhere. But I don't know. How do I? I have to be honest with you. I look after myself. I really do. I eat well. My big problem is sleep. I don't sleep very well. Doesn't matter what I do, but I've never slept very well. An 8 hours sleep, which is what we all need and should have, is something. I can't remember the last time I had 8 hours sleep. But what I've learned is I take a rest in the middle of the day. And people say, "Oh, you shouldn't do that." And I say, "Well, I do, because it gets me through and it keeps me performing at the level I want to perform." So I look after myself. I sleep, get what sleep I can at night. And if I can't sleep, then I'll I don't know, play games on my laptop or read a book or whatever. And then at some stage during the day, and it could be 11 o'clock in the morning, or it could be 6 o'clock in the evening, I become so tired that I just put my head down and I'm gone. And sometimes it's 2 minutes, sometimes it's 2 hours. It depends on how tired. But eat well, sleep well, and laugh. Just laugh. There's a society, the Yoga Laughter Club, I think it's called. And it's American, funnily enough. And the idea is you go in for a session and all you do is stand there and laugh. You're not laughing at anything, you're just laughing. And it's hysterical. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen, because people are just laughing, because our brain doesn't know what we're laughing at. We just have to laugh for our brain to pick up on the humor and the fact that we're laughing. And I found that so interesting. So one of my big things is smile. Always smile. And when you smile, a lot happens. The energy around you is raised. You go to a store and the checkout chick is it's probably an expression I shouldn't use, but I just did. Is
I kind of
very,
like checkout chick.
it's very sour and miserable and this, that, and the other. And I tend to look at them and say, "Oh, did your cat just die?" And they say, "No." "Oh, well, smile." And I say, "Oh, come on, smile." And they'll give me a smile. I say, "See, you are now beautiful. You're a beautiful person when you smile and not when you don't." So I get people everywhere to smile. I chatter to people all the time. It doesn't matter where I am, but my aim is to get a laugh or a smile. And I always do, because one thing, and I don't know if this is, it's not an age thing. I've always been the same. I'm very open. I just talk to people and I don't mind what they say and they don't mind what I say, but I'm very open. And people like that. It makes them feel comfortable. It makes them feel able to laugh at the stupid things you may come out with. And it works. And again, for me, it's about raising the energy level of everybody around me.
Sweet. So if you could give your younger self one piece of advice about aging, what would it be?
Get over it. Seriously, because there's nothing you can do about it other than die. And that to me is not a viable option.
With you on that
If
one.
you don't grow old, yeah, well, if you don't grow old, what do? Put yourself in a box somewhere. And as a woman, you're often put in a box anyway, because people think, don't see you, you're invisible. So no, I don't see any alternative. And as a young person, I never worried about aging. Did you?
Nope. In fact, I don't even worry about it now. Every day I wake up and I'm like, some days it just hits me. It's like, oh crap, you're old. And other days I don't think about it at all. I just go on about my day and something will happen. It's like, oh yeah, I'm 67.
It's so funny because must be a couple of weeks ago now. Oh no, maybe more than a couple of weeks. I can't remember. It doesn't make any difference. But I woke up one morning and I was thinking, a friend of mine just had a birthday, and I thought, oh, isn't that sweet? Blah blah blah. And I woke up one morning and I thought, oh my God, my next really big birthday is 80. And I thought, how did I get to be this old? Because I suddenly realized, yes, 80 is old. And in reality, I don't think 80 is old. 80 is as old as you want 80 to be.
Well, my mother-in-law is 88 and still chugging along. So, hey,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I tell her she's going to outlive me. She's going to outlive all of us.
It's interesting how some people live so much longer than others. I look around me now, and so many of my friends that I went to school with and to university with, and they're dead. And I think, what? What's wrong with them? It's very strange, really is.
Yeah, she's finally at the point where she will now let me actually, if we go over there for dinner or anything, she will now permit me to load up the dishwasher for her because it's hard for her to do that now. For the longest time, I was not permitted to do anything in her kitchen other than eat whatever she put on the table in front of us. But now we get to help clean up because it's hard for her. It's like, well, I had to wait for 88 to hit before I was actually allowed to do anything in your kitchen. That's awesome.
That's great, isn't it? Really, if you think about it. I
It
mean,
is.
she has a great attitude.
She does. I love her. I love her. It took us a while to get there, but now I love her.
And I bet she's not invisible as well,
So what's next for Aging Disgracefully? Any
is she?
projects that need to be that we should all be excited about? I know you've been talking
Um,
about a podcast of your own.
yes, yes. It's about to start the podcast. Today I'm recording the first episode, which is just me talking about what it is. It's called It's Never Too Late. And it's aimed at our women because it is never too late. If you decide you want to start a business, we'll do it now. Oh, I'm too old. No, you're not. Just do it. So there is a book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And it was written by a lady called Susan Jeffers, and it's been around for quite a while now. And I found it again the other day, and I thought, it's so redolent for people our age. Feel the fear and do it anyway. You've been there, you've done that. Most of your life has been spent living within the expectations of others. Isn't it now time to live your life? So that's It's Never Too Late. I've got a few books that are being reworked at the moment. One of them is called Hot Stuff. And I've divided it into 5 different books because I wrote it several years ago, and it was called Hot Stuff, The Ultimate Guide to Style for Women of a Certain Age. And I wrote it in 2008, and everything in there is actually still spot on, really. But so there'll be a book on accessories and shoes and that sort of thing, and a book on this, that, and the other. And then I've got books. I've got a book called Menopause, which surprisingly is about menopause. Then I've got things like the 5 steps to beat menopause and diet, and of course my big thing is travel. So my new website is live today or tomorrow. I don't know which day, but really my aim is by next year I'll be back into it, and the idea is to take between 8 and 10 women from wherever in the world and have them come to Tuscany and stay at a villa, and it'll be a choice. You can either have 10 days in Tuscany, in which we do everything, including shopping, of course, or 5 days in Florence and then travel down to Positano and have 5 days on the Amalfi Coast, or longer if you want to. I've discovered I can't go back into Italy and live there anymore because I have a British passport. And after Brexit, nobody can get in there if they have a British passport. But I found a way to do it. And I'm thinking, if I'm there for 3 months and people want to come, and I will give help on. So it'll be it can be a question and answer stay. I can help them with their style. I can help them with their attitude and their mindfulness and, all that sort of thing. So Italy is my goal. I don't really care about any more. Oh, the south of France is very nice as well, because of course I've been to 57 countries, so I know where is best.
So
What's that?
the Tuscany's on my list, so keep me posted. I have not been there yet, but it's on my list of places I've been
Oh,
to.
I have to say very quickly, I will be very quick. Italy, I just love Italy, and Tuscany. There's nothing I can say really. It's perfection in every way. Really is.
Well, good. Let me know. Keep me posted. I've been like I said, it's on my bucket list of places to go. Um,
What else is on your bucket list?
of places to go.
Yeah.
Let's see. Uh, Santorini and Icaria in Greece.
Oh, lovely.
And other than that, I would like to go to Czechoslovakia. Well, I'd have to figure out where, well, now that Czechoslovakia isn't Czechoslovakia, I would have to figure out where my family came from originally. My father's family came from Czechoslovakia. But now that it's all split up, I don't know exactly where. So I would have to figure that out. But I would like to go and see where he was raised, where he was born and raised. If I can even find it. If it even exists anymore, who knows? It was just a little tiny town called Medageshka. So if anybody's listening to this and knows where Medageshka, Czechoslovakia was and still is, let me know, because I would like to visit.
It's, it's really interesting. I'm trying to think, a few years ago now, Luther said, oh, we're going on a bike ride. Would you like to drive the support truck? Oh, yes, I said. And we left London and we went to Paris. And then from Paris, we went down through Italy and Czechoslovakia, and Bratislava, and all these places that didn't exist however many years ago. And it was absolutely wonderful because we were able to stop and see people and talk to people. And that was, the boys were all riding bikes and I was driving the truck. So I had a good time. But something like that is well worth doing. Truly, just, driving through slowly. And then you'll find the town you're looking for, probably.
There we go. That was kind of something I had heard. I have some friends that live over there in Europe. They kind of travel around, and that was kind of one of the things I'd always wanted to do. It's like, let's just get to Europe and then we can just like bus or train or ride, whatever, because it's kind of like here driving from the East Coast to the West Coast. Over there you just get to go wherever. And
yeah, it's over there it's countries, and in the States it's states.
So it's always kind of intriguing.
Absolutely.
I would like to just come and like spend about 6 months just traveling around and seeing everything.
Make it 12 months.
Oh.
You would need 12 months.
I could do 12 months. I could do 12.
Yeah. Don't forget you've got to go to Scandinavia as well. You can't miss Scandinavia.
I have considered moving. I've already told my grandson says, when you flee the country, Grandma, take me with you. I was like, okay.
Where you move to?
Hopefully it won't get that bad.
Listen, look as an outsider looking in, it may. So where would you move to?
I don't know. I've been looking. I have been seriously looking, and Portugal is on my list. Parts of Italy are on my list. I'm not exactly sure. Tuscany was on my list, to be honest. So, Panama, not Europe. I've been looking at Panama, but yeah,
Panama. Yeah, I have a cousin who lives in Panama.
I've been checking around, seeing where all the other crazy Americans that have fled the country have moved to.
But France is always lovely. I have a cousin who lives in a place near Béziers, which is in the south of France, and it's lovely. It's and very peaceful and calm. And because I don't know about you, I find everything very aggressive nowadays.
Yes, that's what I want. I want peaceful and calm. Like I said, I'm moving to that South Sea island that my friend's grandfather is the chief of, and that's where I'm going to go.
It's not Samoa, is it?
No, it's not Samoa. It's some little rinky-dink. I actually don't remember what he told me it's called, but it's just some little South Sea island something. And yeah, it's probably part of some bigger chain, I'm sure. But still, I don't care. He says, like, there's very limited internet, and there's you don't get the morning news I used to be a news.
Oh, shame.
I know. I used to be a news junkie. Now it's like I don't even want to know. I don't even turn it on anymore. It's like I don't want to know. If the world is ending, I'll know soon enough. And other than that, I don't want to know. Okay, I'm so tired.
You'll know if the world is ending because the sky will change.
So
Probably.
okay, so I saw your okay. So we got the podcast, and I saw it was tea parties. Did you do some kind of like a tea party or something?
Oh, yes, I did a VIP days. And I still do VIP days, but they're more private now. So it's individual invitations to people to join me for a VIP day. And really, it's just afternoon tea in some terribly expensive but very gorgeous place. Because people like afternoon tea, especially if the cakes and the sandwiches and the tea come with some nice champagne. It just works really well.
I love afternoon tea. See, so because my father came from Czechoslovakia. My grandmother was through and through. She didn't speak a word of English, but my mother's family, her father came from England somewhere too, and afternoon tea was a thing. I
Yeah,
love my tea. I do love my
yeah.
tea.
Yes, and tea is very important. Can't survive without tea.
No,
But Americans drink it black and weak.
sometimes.
You do. Well, it's
I also
every
put
cup of tea I've ever had in the United States has been weak and black. And they say, would you like cream? And they put cream in it. It's just gross. Seriously. And sometimes in hotels where they give you tea, and I look at them and I say, I never teach you how to make a proper cup of tea. They get very upset. I can't help that.
I do get some looks sometimes when I put a little cream in my tea. People kind of look at me like, what are you doing?
It's funny because in England we have what we call builder's tea, which isn't a type of tea, it's the way you make it. So it's very strong with just a dash of milk. And we call it builder's tea because it's the way builders drink their tea, very strong tea with just a dash of milk. But this idea of, I know a lot of people who drink black tea, but it's normally quite weak because black tea can really upset your stomach and your gut. Did you know that?
I did not, because I drink mine strong. I will put the tea bag in there and it'll sit in there for a good 5-10 minutes while I'm off doing something. Completely forgot that I was making tea. And it's like, oh my gosh, my tea. I'll come back. And it's like, oh yeah, okay, tea. But that's how
Put
you
some
drink.
milk in it. So much tannin is not good for you.
I do.
You know, the tannin in the tea.
Well,
Tannin.
sorry that because that's usually what happens. So it hasn't killed me yet, so I guess I'm okay.
Yeah, when you're strong, made of Czechoslovakian stuff.
Yeah, we
Oh,
had that what is it? 23 and Me or whatever it is. Anyway, we had it done and yeah, that's I'm Czech and British and Scottish. And 2% Portuguese, which I would love to know. Or no, it was 2% Greek. I'm sorry, 2% Greek, and I'm trying to figure out where the 2% Greek came from, because I don't know anybody in my family who's Greek at all. So trying to figure out
probably way back.
where that 2% Greek came from. But it was very interesting. It was exactly what I expected based on, what I knew of my family. It's like no surprises there except for the 2% Greek.
Actually, I was reading yesterday, and I can't remember what I was reading now. Something about somebody just bought out ancestry.com. I forget who it is. And there was a huge article about, oh, well, now they own your DNA results and blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking, I'm sure that's not possible. And somebody wrote a very sensible article saying, no, the only person that owns your DNA is you. And this company that bought out Ancestry.com. Well, I wish I could remember who it was. Anyway, do you find your memories going? I forget things. They come to me later, but I do forget things.
A little bit. And we're allowed. We're allowed. It's because, as I've explained to so many people, it's not because we're forgetful. It's because we've just got so much stuff in our heads now
Yes.
after 67 years of accumulating all of this stuff that sometimes it's hard to find it as quickly as we should. We got to hunt for it a little bit, but we always find it in the end. You know, might take us a day or two, but
always find it in the end. Just occasionally I will worry and I think, well, that's pointless, isn't it? Worrying is pointless.
Well, this has been fun. It really has. So besides the books and the podcast and the tea parties and anything else,
And the travel.
I'm really
the travel is called Blossom Beyond Borders. And the reason it's called that is because most of the women that come with me will blossom into themselves. It's not just beyond where they are. It's beyond the borders of their life rather than the border of where they live. So it's blossom beyond borders. In other words, get out of yourself and go find the real you, because you are there waiting to be discovered.
So that's your Facebook group that I just joined. Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
All righty. Well, I'm going to put a link to that in the description then, because if anybody wants to come to Tuscany with me when I go,
or even with me when I go.
I'm open to a travel companion. So yeah, I'm going to put that link in there. So you can all get in touch with Penelope, and just in case you want to come to Tuscany with us when we go. It's a limited group. I heard her say.
Keep you posted. Yeah, I'll keep you posted.
Oh,
pack your bag ready just in case.
Don't tempt me. I might have that bag in my closet ready to go. I do like to.
And don't worry about clothing. You can buy some there.
I've done that before too. Okay. My husband and I are known for our little impromptu road trips, and we will often start out on just a drive, and then it's be like, oh, we're too tired to drive home. Let's spend the night. Well, I don't have anything to wear in the morning. Let's go shopping. Okay. So yeah,
I love it.
That would not be unusual. And we do love the travel.
You do realize that you are, you and Del, you are aging disgracefully, don't you? Because you're doing what you want when you want.
That's the plan.
So you are definitely aging disgracefully. And that's really what it's all about. It's just being you.
I always told my kids I was going to live to be 120, and I was going to be, I can't think of her name. She was on a TV show. I can't think of her name now. It was a character on a TV show, and she was quite the hot thing, even at her age. I was like, I'll be like, don't, yeah. My husband, I have a friend who does couple boudoir photos. She does boudoir photos for couples, and I keep telling my kids, I'm going to get your dad. We're going to go have our boudoir photos taken together, so that when you're cleaning out my house after we're gone, you can be looking at it and go, oh my God, mother, really?
Actually, it's interesting. A couple of really dear friends of mine who are in their 60s, both have boyfriends who are 12, 15 years younger than them. And they have such great relationships. I'm thinking, oh, well, that's probably okay, really. And I think for them, it keeps them young as well.
Why not? I like it.
Well, why not, as you say? It's good. Anyway, it's been lovely talking to you.
I appreciate this. This is fun. So If you would like to connect with Miss Penelope about any of her stuff, I will put the link to the Facebook group, the Blossoms Beyond Borders, because I just joined it and I'm already loving it. I can't wait for the travel part to start up. And from there, you can find all the rest of her stuff. I know this actually went fairly well, fairly well. We had a few,
Fairly well. Yes.
we had a few little glitches. We had a cat walking across, but you know, it's okay. This is how.
Oh, the cat was okay.
And there was a couple little glitches here and there, but for the very first one, after such an absence, I'm good with it. I'm good with it. So if you were all
Well done.
if you were all good with it, like, comment, share, you know, do all the stuff, because we are trying to grow this channel. We want this channel to be a place where women can have a voice, because as you heard
Yes.
her say, we don't. We're invisible. We're put in boxes a lot of it, especially as we get older. And this is your place to have a voice. So like, comment, share, do all this stuff, because we're trying to grow the channel. And Miss Penelope,
Absolutely.
thank you so much for being my guest.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I had a lovely time.
Have a good night, and I shall see you on the internet, I'm sure.
Oh, you will, definitely. Take care.